podcast never felt this great. Tables, ladders, chairs, they tell it all. From the highest highs to the lowest fall. Great and glory tales from the ring. Every chant, every cheer they'll bring. Devon and the Duke bring the heat. Wrestling tales knock you off your seat. Tune in now, don't you be late. Wrestling podcast never felt this great.
Brothers and sisters, welcome back. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Devon and the Duke podcast. This is a limited edition series hosted by your main man, Duke Loves Wrestling, and of course, the five-time Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time, Mr. WrestleMania Weekend. He was all over Las Vegas in high demand. Everybody wanted Devon Dudley to be at their event. The one, the only brother Devon Dudley. What's going on, man?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing. Listen,
What's going
I'm
on?
not doing as well as you, bro. Everybody wanted you everywhere in Las Vegas, Nevada. I mean, I don't even know how you managed to survive that weekend, bro.
Look, I'm blessed. That's all I can say on that. I mean, to have that going on in my career right now. I mean, right now it's just a good feeling to, for people to contact me and want me to be on their shows and do their things. I'm happy about that. So I just keep the momentum going as long as I can.
It is so crazy to think that the biggest WrestleMania ever, they made the most money. They had people from all over the world. It's the first time in history where the world could watch WrestleMania all at the same time. Because remember, it's available on Netflix now outside of the United States. So everybody around the world, if they have Netflix, they could watch WrestleMania with everybody else, with the rest of us. It's amazing that at a time where that spectacle is happening, and there are so many other names available, Devon Dudley is still right there in the mix, still somebody in high demand, still somebody that fans want to come and meet, share stories with, get your autograph, get a photo. I mean, man, life ain't so bad, huh?
Listen, I'm not complaining at all. I love it. I just want to keep the momentum going,
Damn right. Speaking of which, you managed TNT, Terrence and Terrell, up against the Hardy Boyz, a couple of punks who've been running off their mouth, talking trash about the Dudley Boyz and what have you. So you decided, you know what? Before you could even speak to me, you got to see my sons first. So talk to me about that. Talk to me about you getting your boys to go rough them dudes up, man.
Well, like you said, the Hardys have been talking crap, and it's all good. I still got nothing but love for Matt and Jeff. And although this is business, and it's in the public eye, what have you, we're always going to talk trash to each other. But I figured, let's see how they do against my sons. Now, people are saying, well, what do you mean? They're the Hardy Boyz. Of course, your sons are brand new to the game and blah, blah, blah. Of course, they're going to beat your sons. I wanted to see if they still had it, they still lost a step or not. Yeah, they're the tag team champions, but still, you want a piece of the old man, you got to go through my boys first. Let me see how that goes. And notice how I'm laughing about it. And I'm sure if Matt and Jeff heard that, they would be laughing too.
Absolutely.
But I was very proud of Terrence and Terrell. They did really, really good. I know Matt and Jeff really enjoyed working with them. And it was one of those things where, I was looking at them in the locker room going over everything, and I was like, this is a surreal moment. The last time I was in the locker room with my sons and the Hardys, it was me and Bubba working with them. And my sons were just sitting down in the chairs, being good and just watching us put the match together. So it was just a surreal moment to see them now putting matches together with the Hardys and me sitting down watching them.
Wow.
It's like 25, 30, almost 30 years later, and this happens. I'm like, wow.
God has a hell of a sense of humor, brother.
Yeah, he does.
Wow. That is a trip. That is a trip, man. You got a chance to be on the other side of the fence for a change. Wow.
Yes.
Well, listen, shout out to the Hardys, obviously, and shout out to Terrence and Terrell, TNT, fantastic young up and coming tag team. These boys are built to last too, man. They mean business when they get in that ring. So all you promoters out there, come on. If you want a solid tag team, if you want to test your tag team champions or whoever you think is your best tag team against somebody who can get it done, reach out to Terrence and Terrell TNT. In fact, Devon, do you mind being an in between there? Can folks reach out to you and then you connect them?
Yeah, absolutely. I can be the in between for Terrence and Terrell. Absolutely.
There it
I mean,
is.
again, they're doing very good, and people are wanting them to be on their shows and stuff like that. So I'm very happy about that.
There it is. There it is. So you got no excuse out there, folks. Reach out. You can either reach out to Devon or Terrence and Terrell directly if you want those guys on your next card. Certainly, reach out because they can get the job done. I love it. So WrestleMania weekend was filled with so much going on. I mean, legitimately, WWE took over Las Vegas. The wrestling industry took over Las Vegas because so many other events were happening and what have you. How does one survive that weekend, Devon? Just in the sense of there's so much to do, there's so many places to go. If you have any advice for wrestlers in particular, what would you say is the best way to tackle that weekend? I mean, is this something that you really need to plan ahead, or when you get there, just kind of make it up as you go along?
I think it's a little bit of both. Make it up as you go along, but plan ahead. Have something planned, a little bit going for it, because it's a lot. You can really capitalize even young talent who are very new to the game coming in, getting their name out there. Looked, I mean, there's so much money to be made during WrestleMania weekend. You know, it's kind of like I know when I was there with WWE at the time, and if Bubba and I didn't make the cut, or if we weren't as busy with WWE as as we wanted to be, we always knew we can go out and make 10 times the amount of money, during WrestleMania weekend. But we were never given that opportunity to do that because you couldn't. But I know there were times where we, would have loved to have been able to do that. Again, different regime back then, and they didn't allow you to do that. I don't think they allow you to do that so much now. It's only to a certain extent. As long as it doesn't interfere with what they want you to do, I think you're fine. But I basically just really, think that a lot of young people coming into the game, getting their name, if they've been on indies and they know little promoters here and there, reach out, try to get yourself booked because there's so much money to be made during WrestleMania weekend.
And there's so many events. There are people who they worked 8, 9, 10 different shows all weekend, which is crazy to think
Yeah.
about it. In 2 days, you could have
hmm
wrestled 10 different matches for 10 different promotions. Really, like, that's insane. Um, you brought up what
It's totally insane.
yeah. You brought up what the new regime is doing over at WWE. I found it interesting that they allowed Natty to wrestle in GCW Bloodsport. She had a match there, which Bloodsport. It kind of reminds me of the old UWFI, where there's a mix of MMA and pro wrestling in there. They get rid of the pro wrestling ropes in the ring and let you do battle, so to speak. But Natty had a match and she won, and it was pretty well received. Um, what are your thoughts about WWE collaborating with these smaller promotions like that?
I mean, again, this is something new, the new regime, and I think it's a great idea. I think people have always wanted to see that, and for WWE to do that for the longest. I remember growing up as a kid, looking at WCW, or I said NWA at the time. We always wanted Ric Flair to come and work with Hogan and all things like Sting, maybe with Rick Rude or something like that. We always wanted to see that when all those guys were on different companies. You had to wait and for them to come over to WWE or for them to go to NWA. Now with stuff like that, I'm sure it's the same thing. People want to see people in TNA and these other organizations wrestle current people in WWE. Now they have the opportunity to do that and see that. I'm just happy that the companies are able to work together to be able to say, okay, this person can go over, that person has to lay down, things like that. And I thought that would be one of the biggest things. Certain talent, I'm not laying down for them. I don't work for them and this and that. But it didn't work out that it doesn't work that way. In other words, people are accepting the fact that, it doesn't matter win or loss, you're creating history. That's the way I feel.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And I think that when done correctly, everybody wins. I like the fact that
Hmm.
WWE, they don't seem to be taking advantage of any of these promotions that they're doing business with. TNA, great example. There seems to be a real nice give and take happening, which helps everybody. You know what I mean? So, sending the NXT kids down to TNA to get some reps in, allowing the TNA world champion Joe Henry to get his WrestleMania moment. Let me tell you something, folks. The majority of people who become pro wrestlers, they put the work in, they graduate from a school, they become pro wrestlers. The majority of people will never compete at WrestleMania. It's not going to happen. A very small percentage of people in history get the opportunity to compete at WrestleMania. Joe Henry is the TNA world champion, and he was able to wrestle Randy Orton at WrestleMania, the highest grossing WrestleMania of all time. That is incredible, right? And I know some of these humanoids out here, they're complaining, well, Orton, he basically squashed Joe Henry, and that hurts TNA. It doesn't hurt TNA. The fact that people around the world were able to watch WrestleMania all at the same time for the first time in history. And a lot of people got to see Joe Henry for the first time. And again, he walked in as TNA champion. That doesn't hurt the company. That's the biggest platform they ever had. So kudos to everybody involved who made that happen. And it just goes to show, again, there's a give and take happening. And I think everybody's coming out all right. I mean, what do you think about that, Devon?
I look at it like this. You know, like you said, he got to be on WrestleMania, the biggest platform there is in pro wrestling. Not to mention, more people saw him than ever before. I don't look at it as being squashed. Look, I guarantee you, when he gets that paycheck, he ain't gonna be talking about getting squashed. That's one. The notoriety is gonna come from that. And that little turn that he does, that's his signature thing. Now everybody sees it. I didn't know about him until he started appearing on WWE's TV before WrestleMania. I think didn't he wasn't he on WWE's TV before that?
Yeah, he was in NXT. And if I'm not mistaken,
Right.
he was in the
And I had
Raw.
no idea who he was before that.
Yeah.
So guess
Yeah.
what? Now you get to see him on a very, very huge scale. And to me, that's people who look at it that way don't understand the nature of the business. They really don't. They think they do, but they don't. And that's the sad part about it.
You're absolutely right. I agree 100% there.
This ain't about wins and losses. It's not about squad. Look, the man basically is being seen by more people than he's ever been seen before. And trust me, at the end of that match, he wasn't unhappy. That man was happy. Seeing him walk through the casino, he was happy. He was ecstatic. Got to talk to him. He was happy. That man wasn't complaining. The only ones complaining are marks. And I say marks, the ones that don't understand this business, that think the storyline has to revolve around what they think or say. Man, stop that bullshit. Come on, man. These guys are making money. That's what it's all about. But you idiots want to talk about he got squashed. He got this. Again, he's taking care of his family. He's taking care of himself. He's setting his future up. You're talking about something. You're talking about a business, and I hate to say this, and I'm going to say it anyway. I hate to use this word. I don't want to use the F word, but it's like, you know, it's a world that's scripted, and we know the outcome. So I'm not saying the physicality ain't real because the physicality is very real. But don't sit up there talking about squash and this and that. Do you think Sylvester Stallone is if Rambo had to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator? You think he would complain about being squashed in the movie? No, because it's about money. And I use that as an example because Sylvester Stallone, Rambo, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in Predator was huge back in the 80s. Imagine having them go at it in a movie, but Sylvester Stallone gets squashed. You know, as they would say, so what? They're making money. Does it really matter?
It's funny you bring that up. Do you remember that movie? I think it was called Assassins, where Sylvester Stallone and Antonio Banderas. Still,
Yes, I remember.
Stallone was an aging assassin, and Banderas was the young guy who was hired to take him out. And just like you said, no one's career took a hit just because one guy beat the other guy in that movie. I think they did pretty well since then.
Exactly.
I think they did pretty well since then. So yeah, Joe Henry, he just became the biggest star in TNA, no question. Um, and the fact that he was able to have that moment, that just makes him even more hungry. So
Yep.
whatever he learned, being in the ring with Randy Orton, first of all, give me a break. That's a blessing in and of itself, right?
There you go. He was in there with one of the top superstars of all time in Randy Orton. Do you think he's complaining? No.
And Randy goes from that match with Joe Henry to now being in the main event against John Cena at the next upcoming PLE. So if I'm Joe Henry, I'm feeling pretty good about that too. Like damn, my match was basically the tune up for Randy, and now he's going to battle Cena one last time for the championship. That ain't so bad. So
Right.
no, shout out to Joe Henry, shout out to TNA, shout out to WWE, Randy Orton, the whole 9 yards. That's good business, very good business. Um,
Exactly.
I was pleasantly surprised at the fact that Io Sky walked out of WrestleMania retaining her championship against Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. And Bianca actually broke a couple of fingers in that match, which is fascinating. She broke fingers and still finished that match, and she was all right. Rhea had a nasty black eye at the end of that match. She's all right. But Io really came in on top there, and her parents were there to see this magical moment for her. What are your thoughts on Io Sky? A lot of people say that was the match of the weekend, quite frankly. But what are your thoughts on Io Sky winning that triple threat match?
I loved it. I think it was probably one of the best things that WWE did. It elevated her because, like you and I talked about, Rhea is already there. Bianca's already there. To keep Io at the level she's at now, she needed to go over. It's not going to hurt Rhea, nor will it hurt Bianca to lay down at WrestleMania. But it helps and continues to elevate Io. And I love it because Io is definitely a hand. She's got natural charisma, athletic ability. I mean, she's the total package. I love watching her in the ring when she gets mad and angry, how she goes off and she starts talking in Japanese. I think it's great. Um, I'm a big fan of hers. Her and Oscar. I love it. You and I talked about before we went on the air how when they were going at it back and forth and Oscar was kind of winning, Io kept quiet and then Oscar stopped and all of a sudden she just went, bitch. And right there, that got me with her. Right there, when Io did that, I was like, wow, that was good. It was hilarious, funny, amusing, but at the same token, I was very entertained by it.
She's a real deal, man. She's a real deal. And it's funny because whether Japan or Mexico or here in WWE, Io has proven that she legitimately is one of the absolute best wrestlers on the planet. Like there's no question.
Mhm.
She always rises to the occasion,
Yeah,
and it's special, man. It's special. So shout out to her. I loved the fact that her parents were there and they got to see her win in that match,
yes.
and they were surprised, man. They didn't know what the finish was going to be, so they got to literally witness something, and probably thought that the daughter was going to drop the belt, and instead Io reigned supreme over these mega stars. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Well, again, she's a hell of a hand, hell of a talent, and I'm just, very, very. Every time she comes on the TV, I know something's about to go down. So I really do like the fact that they put her in the position that they put her in. Just so that she can showcase what she can do. And her parents being there, I'm sure they were just to the moon and back. And it was really cool to see that and to see how their reaction was when she won. Not to mention the finish of that match was great. I loved it.
Very well done. Very well done. I loved it too. The fans loved it. They popped. There was a huge reaction for EO, which I'm so happy about that as well. I got to see a behind the scenes video of Rhea and Bianca hugging. Now, again, both of them got injured in that match, and they both were crying and saying, "We did it." And I thought about that, and it was pretty emotional because I'm thinking to myself, you really did do it. You really helped EO have a WrestleMania moment. You did everything that you possibly could to set her up for success, and EO knocked it out of the park. And that degree of selfishness is exactly what the business is supposed to be about. Because how many people have done the honors for Bianca and done the honors for Rhea and did everything they could to allow these ladies to become the megastars that they are today? You got to pass that down at some point.
Yeah.
So the fact that they gave everything they possibly could to have this amazing match, and they helped EO, and EO was able to have her moment. Yeah, that hug, those tears, we did it. I get it, bro. That was 100% spot on. Wow, I'm getting chills even talking about it now, man. That's what I love about wrestling. Those moments, bro. You know.
It was really cool time.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of which, your guy Jay Uso, he finally got the big one. And when you think about it, this is like a 4 or 5 year build of taking a tag team wrestler in Jay Uso and turning him into a singles superstar who can literally be one of the faces of the company. He defeated Gunther, won the championship, and the crowd got to sit there and yeet with him and dance with him and just celebrate Jay Uso for all his hard work, quite frankly. What did you think about that moment?
Well, before I answer that, I got to ask you a question. What the hell is Yeet?
Man,
Maybe
this
I'm
is I
maybe I'm too old, but I just want to know what the hell Yeet is.
man. Listen, I'm an '80s baby myself, man. I'm probably too old too, but I guess because the funny part is they use it in different ways. They say yeet in general, and then they'll say that somebody yeeted. I guess it's whatever you want it to be. It just means nothing and everything all at the same time. You know. So
Okay.
yeet is like just saying what's up to somebody, or yeet when somebody bangs their head or does something stupid is more like just pointing out the fact. Did you see that? It's literally anything and everything. So
Huh.
I don't know if that answered your question or not.
Yeah, somewhat.
Well, what did you think about Jay winning the championship?
I loved it. I loved it because I know he's worked so hard to get to where he is. And it was a long time coming. Both him and Jimmy both. But right now it's Jay's time. Jimmy's will come, but right now Jay has the spotlight. Very, very happy, very proud of him. And I see nothing but exciting things. I just wish and hope and pray that WWE has the right heels to be able to work with him, to keep him elevated at that level. Because, now that he won the title, how does he stay up top? How does he stay on top and stay interesting? And that's going to be with the people that he has in the ring opposite of him. Who is he going to have to work with? That's the key.
Well, the first one he's getting is Logan Paul.
Right.
Logan Paul called him out this week on Raw, and that's going to be the match now. So, what do you think about that idea?
I don't know too much about Logan Paul. I've seen him, of course, but I don't know too much about him and what his abilities and what he can do. I know he's a fast learner because he picked up the game quite quickly. Um, But I guess we just have to wait and see. I know he has a lot of heat, and I hope that heat can generate into that ring with Jay so that the people are going to pay and want to see Jay beat him and shut his mouth up once and for all. That's what it's all about. And that's the type of people that Jay needs to be able to be in the ring with, to work with. Because if you don't have a guy that got good heat and things like that, it's not going to work, especially if he's a babyface. So hopefully, you know, the momentum that he has keeps it up with Logan, and hopefully Logan can make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is one of those moments, and you and I have been talking about this for pretty much the whole year. Just Jey Uso's build, and if they put the belt on him, like you just said, who are they going to put him up against to really help him continue to be a credible champion? Logan Paul is one of the most recognized people in the world. His brand, because he's been at it so long as a famous YouTuber, his brand is huge, and he appeals to a younger demographic. Um, so Jey Uso being in a match with a person who brings that type of cachet is a big deal. It's going to help the brand of Jey Uso, and Jay coming in as champion, and especially if he can walk out as champion, that helps the brand tremendously. Because I think Logan Paul, even on social media, he probably has just as many followers, if not more, than WWE does, which this one person does, right? That's how big Logan Paul is. And he owns that Prime Energy, and he's involved in other business ventures and what have you. So being paired up with him, especially if they have a viral moment, which I'm sure they will in that match, I think this is the company really letting Jey Uso know we're behind you. You know what I mean? We're going to help you
Right.
become a big star, a mainstream star, not just in wrestling, but in general. We're going to help you become a name, and we want the world to see you as representative of WWE. So I'm pretty excited about it, man. I think that this was the right move. I don't want to see Roman. I don't want to see Cody. I don't want to see none of that. Keep them away from Jey Uso. Give me stuff like
Yeah.
this. Give me a monster after this. Like give me, you know what I mean? Give me some of that type of stuff. But
Right.
give him a real run. Give him a real run. The crowd loves him. I, I was talking to my lady about this, and she was scratching her head. She was like, "When did Jey Uso become this star that the crowd is like really behind?" And I told her, I said, "Look, he's the people's champion. The company didn't do this. The people did this. He's the people's champion right now.
Yeah.
He. No matter what you think, if you like his promos, if you don't like his promos, if you like his wrestling style, if you don't, none of that matters. When that man steps out there, the people embrace him. He's like their brother. They want to see him succeed. They care about him. And isn't that what business is all about?
Absolutely.
You know? So I agree with the move, putting the belt on him, and I think he should have a nice long reign and continue to ride this wave, because look, the crowd reaction hasn't stopped. You know? They're still bopping around in them stands there, Devon.
Listen, they're not going to stop for a long time.
Yeah, I hear that. I
I
hear that.
firmly believe that.
I hear that. And look, the man is already, forget about his singles career. He was already going in the Hall of Fame as being a great tag team wrestler. The
Hmm.
Usos, they're cemented. So the fact that he's adding this next layer to things is just tremendous. And I'm so proud of the whole family. Happy for Rikishi, because I know he's over the moon about this, man. Over the moon. He was damn near ready to kick somebody's ass over the Yeet Man. He called him the Yeet Man. They need to put the belt on the Yeet Man. Well, they did. They did, Rikishi. You got you got your wishes, brother.
Huh.
You know, and another thing, Jacob Fatu is now the United States champion.
Love
So
it. I love it.
not even a year in WWE, and he got the U.S. championship. So what do you think about that?
Listen, I just love the fact that the Samoan dynasty is cleaning up. You know, big fan of Jacob. Loves Jacob. Got to meet him. Personality is just like his father, maybe more. I was a huge fan of his father's growing up, Tama, especially when he was with the Islanders with Haku, and was mad at his father when he helped steal Matilda.
Yes, yes.
you know, and wanted Matilda to bite his ass at WrestleMania 4. But no, but all jokes aside, I was a big fan of his father's, and and when I met Jacob, I was a big fan of his. That man is the most politest person. He is the most respectful person I had ever met. I mean, I was like, man, you ain't got to shake my hand and kind of like bow. I was like, relax. I was like, he's like, no, man, you're a legend. I was like, no, man. I was like, I watched your father. That's a legend. Every time he would say something to me, I would say something to him about his dad. And I said, if I'm not mistaken, I think you look just like him. Where in that ring, where you're gonna be just like your father. I'm gonna be bowing to you, not bowing in a bad way, but it was kind of like out of respect. When you shake somebody's hand and you put your head to his hand, and it's kind of like a respect thing. And we do that in wrestling with those that we respect. And I mean, he was just real cool to meet, and just the knowledge and him enjoying the YouTube channel that I have. Said he watches it and he loves when the new ones come out because he gets to know behind the scenes about stuff that happens because the people don't know the stuff that we go through on the road. And like me and Maven, we like to bring that out and let the people know and keep the interest going on our YouTube channels. And so, I love the fact that he became U.S. champ. I think world title could be in his future as well.
Absolutely. I mean, if he got the U.S. title already, you got to imagine that world title is not that far off. And because of injuries, it seems that they had to accelerate putting him in a position to be the single star now. But let me tell you something. Jacob has handled himself very well the whole way through. And I love the tension that he has with Solo. I love that. I think that there is so much to explore there. I, I'm a big fan of Solo. And
Right.
and I know Jacob, big fan of his too. So what they can teach each other in the ring and the build to whatever is going to happen, their collision course with each other. There's so much meat on that bone, man, and the whole family eats. So it just, yeah, I love it. I think it's fantastic. I'm glad WWE put the U.S. title on him, and despite the fact that he's supposed to be presented as a bad guy, the crowd ain't playing that, man. They love that damn Jacob Fatu. They love him. They love him. You know, he looked like he could kick everybody's ass. First of all, so how could you not love him? It's like
Exactly.
that dude looks like the real deal. So
He's a savage.
yeah, exactly. But like you said, though, the fact that he shows so much respect, especially to the legends, he's not coming in like a young punk, disrespecting folks. So you got to kick him out of the locker room and stuff, and that's happened how many times over throughout the history. He's showing up the right way. He's not big dogging anybody. He's legitimately letting folks know he understands the opportunity in front of him, and he respects it and appreciates it. And
He really
because of
does. I
that,
mean,
yeah, go ahead, please.
no, I was gonna say he really does. I mean, he is a true gentleman, student of the game.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And again, shout out to the whole family, man, because this is the stuff. I mean, you can have your career, but when you see your youngers, just like you said, man, you got your kids are sitting there going over a match and then going out there and tearing it up with the Hardy Boys. Like that, Jesus, Devon. 25 years later, like
It's
that's
incredible.
yeah. And it's such an honor. The fact that you can still be here to see that, you know, it's like thank you God that I lived to see this moment where my boys are now going out there and making it happen. So that's why I get a kick out of Rikishi and the rest of the family when they talk about this next generation that they have here who are making things happen in WWE. It's like Alpha and Sika, they were damn near ready to burn the building down when Roman didn't win the championship. They were like, "What? What do you mean?" We're going to talk to Vince about that, and it's like, man, you know something? You should fight for your people. Why not? You should fight for them.
Let me just say this: if Alpha and Sika were the young guys that they were back when they first started, and that happened, they probably would have burned everything down. Those Samoans, I'll tell you something. There's one thing I know: those Samoans don't play. They don't play. You can act crazy all you want, but they'll show you crazy.
That's deep. That's deep. That
They'll
is
show you.
deep.
And the great thing about it is like Jacob Fatu, he was on a video where some some heavy set white guy, big burly guy, thought he was gonna bowl up to Jacob and jump in his face. Jacob took him and threw him from one side of the ring to the other and started whooping his ass. And I'm like, what did you think was gonna happen? Why do these
Yeah.
fans honestly think that, we're not gonna beat the fuck out of you? I just don't get that. I mean, what are you gonna do to us that we haven't already done to each other? I mean, think about it. It's like you look at some of the Jason and Michael Myers movies. It's like how many times have we seen where they freaking get stabbed, shot, and what have you, and they still keep getting up? I'm sorry, but if somebody still keeps getting up after getting their ass beat with everything, including the kitchen sink, especially in ECW, what makes you think you're going to do what you're going to do? What makes you think you can do to us what you think you can do? We're sitting there letting people do this to us, but yet now we're going to fight with you, and you think we're not going to? You think we're just going to let that happen? Lost your mind.
Well said. Well said. Like literally, please stay on the other side of the fence, folks. Don't be trying to get involved there. Please. You don't want it.
But they drink that juice, and they think they get strong.
You don't want it. You don't want it. Speaking of which, listen, man, you have known Paul Heyman for most of your career. You have seen him do it all. Even before you knew him personally, you watched him on TV. You saw him go through all the motions and what have you. Have you ever seen Paul Heyman turn on not only his best friend, but also turn on somebody who literally is like family to him all in the same night? I mean, how do you turn on Punk and you turn on Roman Reigns and then you align with Seth Rollins? What the hell is going on with your boy Paul Heyman, bro?
Listen, Paul Heyman's always been that type of guy. You ever watched his career in WCW? He was always that snake in the grass that you always wanted to see get their just due on him. But I mean, again, that's Paul. You know, um, he plays that character to a key, to a T, and he basically gets the results that he wants. And people don't realize it, but Paul is a genius. He knows how to play you. You're a puppet. He's the puppeteer. He's the one that's going to have the string dangling and making you move the way he wants you to move, and that's exactly what he does.
That's exactly what he does, and that's exactly what he did there. So now Heyman is aligned with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. Um, all things considered, is this a good move for Braun Breaker to be
I
under the
love it.
learning tree of Paul Heyman now?
I love it. I think he will learn so much being around Paul. You watch. Within the next couple of months, you're gonna see a different Braun. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I mean, and he's night and day from whoever he was in NXT. By the way, I mean
Hmm.
they had to try out different things. I know he was NXT champion, and he was okay, but man, ever since they brought him up, they just been making the right decisions with him, and it's been working. So, yeah, that's good stuff. And Seth Rollins is such a wild card that you don't know what the hell you're going to get with him. So the fact that he's in this mix is so hilarious to me because it's like this is fresh material, completely fresh. You
Right.
know, so that's very interesting that whole pairing there. Um, the main event, the main event of all main events, Cena versus Rhodes. Overall, was it the right decision for John Cena to walk out of WrestleMania champion?
I mean, there's so many people that debate that. I don't know what the real answer is. Um, I think it all depends on how Cody comes back. What do they do with Cody when he comes back? How do they do it? How do they get him back to where he needs to be? That's one. Number two, I did think that the ending of that was flat. I was not expecting. So when the 1, 2, 3 happened, I was shocked. I was completely shocked because I was like, "That's it." I was expecting something else. It didn't have to be The Rock, but something else could have been coming out of it because you had that. What's the rapper's name that came out?
Travis Scott.
They had him come out, and I was expecting the bells and whistles to happen, and it didn't. And that's what threw me off with everything.
Yeah, that was different. And I don't know what's going on with Travis Scott, if he's too high or God knows what. I get a kick out of the fact that he's in the mix because he is not as prepared as the other celebrities who have gotten in the mix over the past couple of years. He's no Bad Bunny. He's no Logan Paul. Like, we start going down the list, right? Like, Travis Scott, clearly there's a disconnect there, but it's so ridiculous that it's just I'm entertained by it because it's unpredictable, right? You could still steal a house with Cody versus Travis. I still say you could probably sell out Madison Square Garden with that match if you build it right.
It's not that I don't think. You know what? It's hard because Travis is not he's not an athlete. I don't see him being an athlete. And like I said, Logan Paul caught on very quickly. Guys like him that have come into this business that have caught on very quickly. Look, Ken Shamrock, who, I know him personally. I'm a big fan of his, but he had a rough time coming in, and he's an athlete. He's an MMA guy. He didn't really connect with the fans or connect, period, with pro wrestling when he first came in. It took a while. I just don't think he'll be able to do it. I don't think he'll be able to do it. I just don't. Because he's
Oh,
not that type of guy that I think that will be able to come into our world and do what we do.
of course he's going to be terrible, but I think that's the best part. So who doesn't want to pay to see this guy who has a baby with a Kardashian? This rapper guy who comes into to WWE and he's entitled, he's smacking up the champion and all that stuff. Who doesn't want to see him get his ass kicked?
True.
You know, I want to see that. I want to see Cody put his hands on that dude and smack him up back. Listen, I think there's some money to be made on that, and it'll be a big moment mainstream too. Everyone's going to cover it. So I don't know. I still Triple H. Listen, man, there's money in that. Come on now. We got to get some of that. I don't care if Travis Scott could do anything. All you got to do is get in the ring, and there could be everybody stopping Cody from getting to him. And if Cody finally at the end gets his hands on that boy and gives him one good punch in the face, I'm telling you, the roof will blow off the place. Come on. That's old school. That's old school. You know. Overall, though, what did you think of the weekend overall, man?
Fantastic weekend. I enjoyed. Yeah, I mean, I know I enjoyed myself. I made a lot of money. I did everything I was supposed to do on WrestleMania weekend.
Honorable mention. NXT had a main event, 3 black men for the NXT World Championship. Obafemi, Trick Williams, and then Javon Evans. Triple threat match. It was fantastic. Bust ass match. Them guys, they laid it all on the line out there. It was something special. It's never happened in NXT history before. Just the idea that 3 black men are main eventing the NXT PLE, and it's for the NXT World Championship. What did you think about that there, Devon?
It was amazing. It just showed you how far we've come. And we still have a long way to go. Don't sleep on it, but we still have a long way to go. But it just goes to show you, 3 black men being able to do something like that during WrestleMania time, that's something. Do you not agree?
It's special, man. It's something. It's everything. It's special, and we don't get that.
It was just like when Bianca, what she main evented, was it main event at
Yeah,
WrestleMania?
with Sasha Banks.
One of the
With
nights,
Sasha
yeah,
Banks,
yep.
we don't get that, Devon, without Bobo Brazil, Junkyard Dog, Ernie Ladd, Ron Simmons,
Coco
Coco
Beware.
Beware, Devon Dudley, Booker T, Ron Killings. We don't get that without y'all, man. And that's what made it special for me. I was so elated that ended up being the main event, and that the match was fantastic. Like, they really, really kicked ass. The crowd was in it. Everybody online was talking about it after the fact, pointing out that was a damn good match. Yeah, kudos to those guys, man. They're young guys. They're still figuring it out. But on that night, no one was better. So That was awesome. Awesome stuff there. Um, Moving on here, Devon. You mentioned the YouTube, so let's plug it one more time, man. What's the best way everyone can keep up with you, especially on the YouTube, and check out what you and Maven got going on over there?
Yeah, so it's Devon Dudley YouTube channel doing very, very well. Having a good time. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe I'm at 146,691 subscribers. We've only been up and running about 2.5 months, so I'm very, very happy about the numbers just keep growing. Every time I go to every time I go to check to see how many people have subscribed, it comes up and people are basically just liking what I'm doing, and I'm loving every bit of it. On the autograph signings, people, bringing up the YouTube channel and this and that. If you haven't seen it, you need to check it out, and I think you'll fairly enjoy it.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's wonderful stuff there. Uh, Keep an eye on what Devon has going on, folks, because every single week something new is happening. People want to be involved. They want to be in the mix. You see all the great names that are popping up on the YouTube as well. This is why you got to be dialed in. You got to subscribe. So please keep doing that for sure. Got a couple of announcements here, Devon. First one, big supporter of the show, a guy by the name of Kenny Young. He just assumed the official role as the afternoon drive host of the WZLX FM Boston, which is a classic rock station in Boston, Massachusetts. So, we got any congratulations for our brother Kenny Young?
Kenny Young, hey man, I mean, keep doing a great job, and thank you for being such a huge supporter of the podcast. Me and Duke love people that support us because we support them right back, and this is one of the ways we do that. So thank you very much, and nothing but blessings for you, my brother.
Nothing but blessings indeed. Congratulations, Kenny, to you and the whole crew over there. You guys are an iHeart radio station, so it's pretty awesome, man. Big accolades there. Best to you and the family. And in closing, Devon, there is an official anniversary that I guess we can announce today, and there'll be more information coming out over the next week or what have you there, folks. But officially, I am celebrating 9 years of podcasting.
Oh wow.
9 straight years, my brother. Do you have anything to say about this punk that you got to sit here and listen to my nonsense or what have you? 9 years, somehow I'm still doing this thing. You got anything to say about that?
Well, listen, this punk that you speak of, basically, has helped me out tremendously, not only with knowledge, and has helped me put my name back on the map again, doing what I'm doing. And I got nothing but love and respect for that punk. So listen, congratulations, and let's do 20, 30 more years of this.
Whew. I don't know, man. I don't know. You're going to have to carry me 20, 30 more years, man. I don't know.
Listen, if I get back in the ring, you can do that. So
okay. All right. I'll hold you to that then. I'll hold you to that. Listen, man, it has been a joy to be able to continue to learn so much more, and especially do a show with you where here you are, this Hall of Famer. You've had this storied career. I've watched it from the beginning. And just to hear you articulate the truth about your experiences and talk about life and the fact that you have maintained your dignity, the fact that you have remained a gentleman all these years, despite the fact that you've gone through so many highs and lows, ups and downs, you've been through so much nonsense. But when I hear about the type of weekend that you had at WrestleMania, and I think about the conversation that we had when we decided to start this show, and I told you, I said, yeah, man, we got to reframe the way people talk about the Devon Dudley brand and who you are historically. Just the fact that things are playing out exactly as we planned, that makes podcasting worth it for me. That makes this whole exercise worth it for me, because I could never go out in the ring and do for you what you've done for me and be there for you the way that you've been there for me throughout these years, bro. So this is the best way that I can repay you. And I'm so happy and I'm so thankful that, you take the time to do this show with me and we get to talk to the fans and do all this good stuff here, man. And to everybody listening, thank you for hanging in there 9 years. giving me suggestions on what you want to hear, letting me know what you don't like to hear, quite frankly, and everything in between. Again, I learn every week. It's special. The fact that Devon Dudley would even take the time to even want to be on anything with me, never mind do a show with me, that's a testament to the growth and what I've learned just through the years, because I actually pay attention and listen. And more importantly, I respect the business and I respect folks like Devon who have put it all on the line for us. So again, 9 years, I'm not going anywhere. We're going to keep going strong. And certainly, folks, you can continue to tune in to Devon and the Duke. Duke Loves Wrestling on Facebook, on Twitter, Duke Loves Wrestling at gmail.com. Let me know what you think. With that said, how about the word of the week, Devon?
Yeah, so if you don't leave your past in the past, it will destroy your future. Live for what today has to offer, not for what yesterday has taken away. Testify.
Woo! Testify. My brother.
Strictly for the culture every day. Stepping style in your unique way. Patterns and colors so divine. All about the perfect line. Be yourself, let your spirit fly. In this fashion, you'll touch the sky. Strictly for the culture, brand so fine. Dress to impress and show your shine. Strictly for the culture, every day. Step in style in your unique way.
Visit www.strictlyfortheculture.ca.
Backstage whispers and the crowds roar. From matching giants to legends of yore. Devon's wisdom and Duke's keen view. Every episode feels like it's brand new. Devon and the Duke bring the heat. Wrestling tales knock you off your seat. Tune in now, don't you be late. Wrestling podcast never fails.